Hello and welcome, bros, brodettes, and everything in between to Cool Story Bro. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Tim.
And we're going to play some Legend of Zelda up in here.
Yes.
You ready, Tim?
I am ready.
Do you know what story I've picked out for you?
I do not. I'm seeing a little story on the screen, but I don't care about that. Pressing start now.
Alrighty. The story is called Happiness for Sale. Can you guess what it's about?
Happiness that's for sale?
No. Not the slightest, in fact.
Then why is it called Happiness for Sale?
Well, can you think of any characters in the Zelda mythos that the words happy and sale are in the name?
That creepy-ass salesman guy?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh god, this is gonna be horrid.
Are you ready, Tim?
Oh, fuck. Give me a second.
Stop breathing into the mic.
Okay. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. Let me prepare my inner angst machine.
Okay, let me start playing here.
The whirligigs are prepping. The two hickeys are lighting up.
And I'm getting my sword, so we're ready to kill shit.
Oh, wait. Has it said it's dangerous to go alone yet?
Yes, it says that right now.
Oh god, I'm getting so hard. Alright, here we go.
Go ahead.
A man came into town today. A very strange man. He looked to be in his 30s, walking with a hunched back with a load of items upon it. He had thinning red hair and tannish skin. Alright, hold up. Sorry, I already have to call bullshit on this fucking story. The happy salesman is pale as a fucking ghost.
I think somebody was drawing inspiration from girl smut or something.
Anyway.
Like, this is just fat fodder.
Right,
go on.
His thinning red hair and tannish skin, as well as an almost skeleton-like frame. He seemed to be quite small, really. It was the big grin on his face that got to me. It was such a large smile, almost inhumanly big. Its edges seemed to stretch from beyond his cheekbones and into his eyes.
Oh my god.
Like my dick.
Yeah, that didn't take long.
Yeah, well, I had to break the tension. Fuck. He strolled into town with that joyful expression on his face, speaking in almost whispers to children who lived along the road, like Pedo Bear.
Does it actually say that, or did you add that?
I really wish I could say that it actually said that.
Yeah.
The children would stare, emotionless, as he whispered to them. I couldn't make out what he was saying from the distance, so I sat on the centerpiece in town square waiting for him to cross my path. I was genuinely terrified, to be honest. But I didn't know why. Yet, even still, I wanted to wait for him. I couldn't explain this curiosity, but it had a hold on me that would not release until I spoke to this eerie man. He slowly began approaching me. Closer. Closer. The soft thudding of his footsteps still barely audible over the dull roar in the square. Yet all the same, I could hear it plainly as anything else as I waited in the slight panic for him to reach me. He stopped in front of me, still not facing me. I looked up to catch his face. He stared forward, and slowly he turned towards me. He never opened his eyes, and the smile never disappeared from his face. Turning his head to me, he opened one eye and stared directly at me. I slumped down. An incredible fear that I'd never felt hit me like a wave. He didn't say a word. He only stared into my eyes with that open hawk eye that he had opened. I completely lost track of reality. The sounds of the town square around me faded away, and I became immersed in that eerie silence that seemed deafening. I wanted to run, but I couldn't. Nothing would move. My body seemed frozen to the bricks I was sitting on. The smile felt like it was looking at me, almost like there was the true man behind it, not the eyes. I can't explain it, but to put it best, I can. The smile seemed ageless, eternal. It echoed in my mind into affinity. Infinity, even.
Damn it.
What?
I died.
Oh, well. You died before the
Keep reading.
fucking fiction ended. Way to go.
I'm terrible at this game.
My body began leaning away from him. Slowly his head turned back to the road. He began to go on his way again. I was shaking violently. I felt like I could throw up. As he walked off, I realized there were masks on his back. He must have been a mask collector of sorts. You think?
I'm still trying to figure out what the point of this story is.
Tim?
What?
Creepypasta. Do they ever have a point?
Yes, they at least have a story. This has been like a half an hour long exposition of like fucking what's going on.
It's been 2 fucking minutes, if that.
It felt like a half an hour, and it's just a fucking nothing but setup. Like, where's the actual story gonna come in?
That night, I couldn't sleep. All I could think about was meeting him in the square. He didn't say anything, but I felt completely disemboweled by his glance. His piercing eye.
Disemboweled.
They think I'm the younger one. I didn't know what it was, but that man was not human. No, he was something else. Something very sinister. Sinister! I hunger! That ageless feeling wouldn't go away either. As if there was some sort of ancient demon wandering the earth from city to city, town to town. Why, though? I wanted to know more. I was becoming obsessed with the very thing that terrified me more than anything else, like Tim's penis.
Wait, what?
But just keep playing, Tim.
Okay.
So,
I must be hearing things.
tomorrow
Go on.
I would search for him and see if he was in town. I honestly hoped he had left. Yet, if he hadn't, I could learn more about him. So Tim, I can't see your screen from what's going on, but paint me a picture with your words.
I am in a very wooded maze area with several of those. They're called, I can't remember what Ganon's clones are called, the ones with the spears that they chuck, the blue ones. I can't remember what they are, but I'm in a very tight quarters in battle with them, which I've just won, actually.
Oh, well done.
Yeah.
Should I keep going?
Yeah.
Sure.
That's the whole point of this thing. Keep going.
Shut your whore mouth.
That's not what you said
The
last
next
night.
day, I ate breakfast.
Oh my god, what a fucking amazing life you live!
And you know what happened then when I ate breakfast, Tim? Do you know what day it was?
Was it Tuesday?
Friday! Friday!
Oh my... Dude, even the game lagged on that one. Like, it was like, what the fuck?
Anyway, the next day I ate breakfast and ran to the square. I saw a small group of people gathered around a small vacant building on the corner. I ran over to see him, the demon, standing in front of everyone. He had his hands together and was speaking about how he was opening his Happy Mask shop. Wow, you can tell this game is Asian. Too racist?
Smidge.
Just a smidge. Oh well.
I don't care.
Here in the square, he preached and preached. Come one, come all.
What?
It's come one, come alls.
Huh.
Anyway, to the crowd, they all, fucking terrible fanfiction writers. To the crowd, he all seemed memorized by his words. I think they meant to say who. Finally, he finished and headed inside the tiny building. A small sign next to it read, Happy Mask Shop! Happiness is just a mask away! I shuddered, and then cried. I made up the cried part. What was so scary about this man? Was it that he had sexually molested me when I was a child? Oh, sorry, that was the priest, my bad. I had to know more, so I ran inside. There were already a few people in there, yet it was silent. No one was talking. What was going on? Were they negotiating something? I saw a man, a child next to him, and a woman behind him, yet none of them were saying anything. They were only staring at the happy masked man. He nodded his head as if they had reached some silent agreement and handed 2 masks to the man and child. They turned and walked out. As they passed, I saw a glazed look in their eyes, as if they were completely out of it. The woman was out behind them, carrying another mask. Then it was me. I was all alone with him. Tim, I want to give you an idea of just how badass they think this masked salesman is. They capitalized the H in him. And I think you're gonna laugh about a word in this next sentence.
Okay.
He cocked his head.
Nah.
Really?
Really?
Fucking cock.
Cock. Yeah, I just did that.
He cocked his head, maintaining his silence. He wanted me to speak, so I did, asking him about his shop, as well as where he came from. Silence. He didn't say anything, which I kind of assumed was implied by the word silence.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's kind of duh.
He just kept grinning. I was beginning to become irritated, but simultaneously more frightened too.
So wait, who's supposed to be creepy here? The happy salesman or the fucking protagonist?
No, me.
Okay. Just so long as we have that sorted out.
I stepped back towards the door, asking him to answer me. Just then a child walked in. It was a boy, not over 5 years old. He walked up to the happy masked man. The man stood there and hunched over to the boy. The boy held out his hand, expecting a mask, perhaps. The happy masked man opened his eyes. Both of them stared the most evil glare had ever seen at the child. I stepped back again, almost tripping as I reached for the doorknob. To my sheer terror, the man grabbed the boy by the neck and picked him up off the ground. The horrific screeches of terror coming from the boy's throat. He was at least 8 feet off the ground. Wait a minute, you just talked about how small the fucking guy was, and you didn't say he got any big... whatever. So how you liking it so far, Tim? Isn't it a little... It's a little creepy.
Yeah, but it... I don't know. Keep going.
You're a fucking whore. Anyway. Just then, the salesman's mouth began opening. Still smiling, of course.
Right.
It grew wider and wider until it was almost a foot wide. I could hear his jaw snapping as it opened. Ugh, horrible and inhuman sounds began coming from him. He raised the child higher. Then all of a sudden the child was halfway down the salesman's throat.
Oh!
I know, right? Much like that priest that one time. I screamed as I could see the boy's legs kicking in the salesman's mouth. Slowly, but surely they slid down and disappeared. The boy was gone. I began crying hysterically, yet I couldn't move. He turned to me, his mouth still hanging wide open. He put his hands to his face. A strange glow began to appear around his hands. He slowly peeled his hands away from his face. A repulsive, stretching sound could be heard as his skin appeared to be pulled off. He arched his back further and further until his hands were separated from his face with a clump of flesh at least 2 feet long. This man, no! This thing was an absolute monster. To be fair, this is the Zelda universe, you know, monsters aren't exactly uncommon.
Yeah.
The flesh tore, leaving the same grinning face. He stood there with a massive skin in his hand. Slowly, the skin began molding and contorting. I backed into the corner. What the hell was going on? Before I knew it, the skin had turned into the small shape in his hand. He held his hand out, showing me his new prize. It was the child's face. He made a mask out of flesh The horror hit me, and I began vomiting into my lap. I hear some chicks are into that. I heard
all of them.
I heard a small chuckle come from the salesman. No, I had to get out of there. I got up and I ran for the door. Upon grabbing the doorknob, I heard one more thing. Do you want the mask, my boy? Tears were streaming down my cheeks as I was sobbing and running across the town square. I could hear people gasping and shrieking as I ran by. I'm sure I was a poor sight. A child covered in blood and vomit. Where the fuck did the blood come from?
I don't know.
Whatever.
I find it easy to fap to.
No,
So.
I find it hard to fap to this. If they had an explanation from where the blood came from, I'd have come already. I didn't care, though. That thing was a demon. I ran into my house, and I ran straight into my room. Both my parents were out. I sat there for what must have been hours, rocking back and forth, covered in filth. Finally, I got up, and I looked out the window. The small building was still there. Duh! But there was no one going into it. The sign was gone. To this day, I have no idea what happened, or what I experienced. I've never told anyone because I know no one will believe me. So I started a happy smiling mask witness company.
What?
I was trying to make a joke about UFO societies, failed miserably.
Okay.
I washed myself and tried to continue my life as normal as possible after that day. The happy mask salesman was gone. I even asked around town, and people all claimed they either had no idea what I was talking about, or they weren't sure. Dead ends were everywhere. Had it been a dream? No. I wouldn't make up something like that. And I pity all those who may experience it in the future. That monster. That thing. May God protect all who come across his path. It's been a few years now. A lot has happened since then. But he's never come back. And I dread the day more than anything when he may, if he does. I'll be sure to stay clear. If you see a man in your hometowns claiming to sell masks, a man who looks off and seems to be hiding something sinister, stay away from him. He isn't human. Whatever he is, no, whatever it is the very essence of evil itself. Dun, dun, dun! Left in. So what'd you think, Tim?
See, I don't really see how it ties into the universe. I mean, they took one of the characters. Was it in the game universe? Was it in real life? Or this? I think it's just like an expose on this person as a real life thing. But I'm sorry, I just don't understand this. You know what? That story, bro, it was cool. You should tell it again.
Alright, hold on.
No, not now. No.
A man came into town today, a very strange... Anyway, go die in a fire, Tim! All the fires!